Hello, everybody. I am back again with yet another agent. This time I'm with Dustin. He is out in Oklahoma. But before I say any more, we were talking through results this week quite a bit, and he wanted to share a little bit with other folks that may be listening. So before I say any more, Dustin, would you care to introduce yourself to the folks if you'd like?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm Dustin Beavers. I work with an agency out of the Owasso, Tulsa area here in Oklahoma. So I serve all of Northeast Oklahoma. I've been working in real estate for 12 plus years. And so helping people serve and find homes is always my goal. Making that home opportunity is what I want to do. And partnering with Constant Closings helps me accomplish my mission and my goal in life.
Awesome. I love to hear that, Dustin. Now, if you don't mind me asking, obviously you've been in the business, like you said, for 12 years. So I wanted to ask you, I'm sure, and I know we had talked about this. So I know we are not the only people that you spoke to in those 12 years about partnering together with a service like this. Now, obviously, from the outside of things, knowing there are a lot of services and a lot of people that do this type of thing, a lot of them could look the same from the outside first before you get a chance to speak to somebody or experience. So I did want to ask you, being in the business for 12 years now, what was it exactly that drew you into being interested in wanting to partner with us?
The one thing that pulled me really to Constant Closings was the personal effect or the personal feeling that I have with the company. Working with you, Mason, and everyone at Constant Closings has been absolutely fantastic. Some of those other companies are big corporations and you're just one in a million. But I really do feel like family with Constant Closings, and we're in constant communication. And having that back and forth and immediate feedback when I need it is really what draws me to the company, so that I know not only that I'm appreciated, but also that we're a partnership together to make success happen. And that's what we're both in the business for, is not only as an agent making people find their home, but also with you all, you want to make me look successful, and together it's a wonderful partnership.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you feel like that. I always joke with people sometimes because that's usually the number one thing they say. They bring up the communication, the fact that it feels more like a family. We're not just a spoke and a wheel like you are with other services. So I always joke with people and say, maybe I should have named the company Constant Communication instead of Constant Closing. I don't know. But anyway, anyway, I'm glad to hear that you feel like that, Dustin. If you don't mind me asking, just because you did bring up that you were actively participating in some other lead gen services in the past that may, at the surface level, like we talked about, look kind of like what we do before you get involved and you get to experience the system, right? So I wanted to ask, just because there may be other people watching this that do have a good or bad experience with certain lead gen platforms, would you mind, just because this isn't something detail we normally go into, but I would love to ask, would you mind throwing out a few names of some of the people you did try before coming on board with us?
Sure. Yeah, I've worked with SmartZip Analytics before, and they're a huge company. And then also I've worked with Boomtown as well, and neither one of them have really compared to what I've experienced with your company.
Awesome. I'm glad you feel that way. You're so happy about it. I'm happy too, because the results have been great, and so people will understand why in a second when we go through the results. But at the same time, like, hearing somebody so happy, the last thing I want is somebody that's like, oh, he paid this guy off. I can tell he paid him to put on the tie and get on here. And that's not the case. But because of that, let's go through the results a little bit and let's talk about that. So one, I would say it's been only about 3 weeks.
That's right.
Been up and running, not even a whole month yet. We've already added over 170 people, 177 leads to be exact, to your database in that short period of time. Of those, we've had 27 appointments and live transfers already in the first 3 weeks alone.
Yep.
And of those, we had a majority of them have been conducted using the follow-up guidelines, which we'll talk about here in a second to share with people. But on top of that, the most exciting part is that you essentially already have a client and a closing right on the horizon, it sounds like. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Within the first 3 weeks of working with you all, there's a client that it was an appointment set. I had a great conversation with them, and they're getting ready to close a house possibly. And we've already started the paperwork to start the process for them to find their next home and then get them a nice home to live in. So it's been a fantastic first 3 weeks. So you could really even say the service is paid for itself. Even just having one closing, right? And so, one closing in 3 weeks, if we partner for long periods of time, like I'm looking forward to and excited about, 1 in 3 weeks, we multiply that out and it's going to be a fantastic opportunity for everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm stoked for you, Dustin. Now, I would Couple quick other questions. So you talked about like obviously working with other companies in the past, being in the business for 12 years, that type of thing. So I wanted to ask, can you kind of give people an indicator and myself an indicator too? What are some of the problems that you may have had before we partnered? And how have those problems been? Or are they still problems now? Or how are things now that we've been able to partner and get you some steady conversations?
Sure, absolutely. And everybody knows in the real estate business, time is money. And the way that you can leverage all of the extras in your business is definitely going to be a benefit. And I've noticed even after 12 years, I've always been a solo agent. So I haven't had a team. I haven't worked with multiple people. But being able to be free of not having to worry about setting appointments or finding those leads or following up to get them. Once I get those warm leads into my database, I know that as an agent, I can convert and I can close. And so that's what I get to focus on. And I've noticed in the short period of time that we work together, I've been able to up my game in that converting and closing because I haven't had to worry about lead generation or worried about all of the inside sales that would draw me to getting that warm lead into my inbox. I can just start the conversation, and then in a matter of a few hours or maybe a couple days, we can be out looking at houses and starting the pre-approval process. And so it leverages my time. It opens up my schedule so that I can focus more on what matters most, and that's my clients and getting them a house. And so it's been a fantastic thing, leveraging the time and using Constant Contact as my inside sales associates. And then if a person misses appointment, I can just move them over into a missed appointments column, and my inside sales associates at Constant Closings are going to follow up with those leads and get me an appointment rebooked and rescheduled. I don't have to worry about it at all. And that's a fantastic opportunity. It's almost like having 100 virtual assistants all behind the scenes. And I just have to worry about making my clients happy that I'm working with at the moment.
Yeah. And I'm glad you feel that way too, Dustin, because that's the other thing. Obviously, Constant Closings, the name is it's in the name, but then in the constant communication, but it really comes down to like when agents ask me, like when we have I have a first call with somebody, or if they reach out to me through the website or through the email or whatever the case may be, or sometimes they message me through Facebook even. I tell them that really the biggest thing that we do for you, obviously apart from providing the live conversations that you can take and immediately run with, is really time. We give you a ton of time back. At least that's the goal, right? So I love to hear that the service is providing, because like I said, we built the system. We have all the people in place. It's just a matter of plugging, not necessarily plugging you in, but building our system that we've already set up around you, so that you can kind of step in and essentially you have an in-house marketing team working for you rather than paying a big wheel company outside and not knowing what they're doing on the day-to-day.
And that's a benefit because you all work with me and we got everything set up. So people don't realize that it's not my company contacting them. Everything is branded as me. Everything is as if I'm actually contacting those people through my agency. So it takes a one-man team and it makes us look fantastic and looks like we're a multi-million-dollar agency because we have all of this extra support. So, and it's all branded just for my company and my real estate.
Glad you feel like that, Dustin. So I got two other questions for you. One has to do with the success that you've seen, right? Because we talked about this very early on. We have agents that join the program, and obviously, no matter what program you join, regardless of whether the program is good or bad, if you join a program, even if it is the best program out there, obviously there's two sides to the story, right? You got to hold up your end of the bargain. They got to hold up their end of the bargain. And if you don't do any work, obviously you're not going to get the results you should. Or if you come into it thinking that it's going to go wrong, it probably will, because the people that search for something to go wrong usually find that reason, right? So in your case, I know that you've done a really good job with the follow-up guidelines and all that type of stuff. So one question I wanted to ask you, so that people that may be considering the service know how to basically how to engage their opportunities and stuff like that once they're on board, is I wanted to ask you, how do you feel following our follow-up guidelines has helped you have the success that you've seen in this short amount of time?
I think it's really been beneficial. And using the guidelines that are outlined by you guys help me accountable. But also we know that in the industry, that if we are not following up in a timely manner, then we're probably going to lose those leads. So being able to have a warm lead and have that captured and being that real person on the other side of a phone definitely is very important. It shows your client not only that you care, but that you're actually a real person on the other side of that phone. And the faster that I can connect my personality and connect my profession and persona over to that person, it definitely means it makes my job easier in converting them to be a client. So following the guidelines of once you get that appointment booked, following up with that person, just even giving them a quick voicemail or a quick text that says, hey, looking forward to our appointment, but then calling them right on time, knowing that you're going to be punctual, it shows that you're a true professional within the industry. So it's like extra points in your basket as you convert those people. You know, you're there. We've got a phone number. We've got some text messages going. We might send an email very quickly, but just following those guidelines to know that you're a true person really helps and in the end level, converting and getting to those final closings.
Exactly. I could not have said it any better than you just did, to be honest. And you're exactly right. You got to follow up. You want to show those people that, yes, we're providing you live conversations, but at the end of the day, they still don't know you yet, right? And what you said is perfectly right on point. You hit the nail on the head in terms of the sooner you can get your personality and on the phone with them and in front of them, like, because at the end of the day, you are the business, right? You're going to be the one walking them across the finish line. So the sooner we can put that on a pedestal, the better, and the sooner it gets in front of them. So you want those people, even though they're strangers, until you actually get that first conversation with them in that first phone call, which we provide for you, you still need to show them that care and that attention that you want them to know they're going to get once they are a client, right? That type of thing. So I think you hit the nail on the head, Dustin. So I appreciate you sharing that with people, because obviously, like I said, there's two sides to every story, right? And if you're doing your part and we're doing our part, it's going to be an unstoppable team. So
that's exactly right.
I have one last final question for you, Dustin, before I let you go here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And I wanted to ask you, after we talked about a lot of things this week, we talked about a lot of results. Obviously, we've shared a lot of it here on this call. So I just want to ask you, if there is somebody that may be watching this video who's considering working with constant closings, they may have worked with Boomtown, Zillow, OpCity, those type of platforms in the past, and they haven't had experience, or maybe they even got burned by those people. And you being a part of those people, some of those platforms before, what would you say to somebody that may be considering constant closings that is teetering on the fence?
If you are working with other companies or you've worked with them in the other companies and had a bad feeling or a bad experience with each one of those, I definitely say reach out to Constant Closings and definitely give them a try. They're going to be that nice company that's going to give you that small town family feel, something that's going to keep you personalized. They're really going to work hard. They're going to go the extra mile to make sure that you have a fantastic experience. I know in my short period of time working with them, we've had more conversations, we've had more communication, we've gone back and forth and more customizations than I could ever have with my multi-years with those other companies in the business. I know that I can see the results immediately when I see from Constant Closings, where it might have been 3-4 months before I ever saw any results from those other companies. So it's a fantastic opportunity. And if you're hesitant, you can give me a call and I will definitely give you a firsthand tutorial or firsthand feedback about these amazing opportunities that they provide each and every agent that takes part of their platform.
Awesome, Dustin. I appreciate all those kind words. I am also very glad. I love that you feel the same way about the small family type feel, because that's what we're going for. That's why I give you guys calls every single week to check in how things are going, to hold us accountable, hold you accountable, right? Make sure the system is working the way it should. Also send you weekly screen recordings of the back end of things so you know what's going on, not to mention the customization that goes into the onboarding. So that's what we're trying to display to people, that of course everything is built around you. I love the whole point of me starting this business, coming from a very small town myself, is to create that small town feel where you're not a different, another spoke in the wheel. So it means the world to me, Dustin, that you feel that way. I'm going to pass along all the kind words to the ISA agents too that are making calls for your account, because they love to hear that stuff, and I'm sure they'll be tickled to death as well. So thank you so much for joining us, Dustin. I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing everything with everybody else. And I appreciate you also throwing out there, being open to taking a call from somebody, because that's normally, I wouldn't ask for somebody to be a reference or something like that. The results speak for themselves. But you heard it, people. If you're watching this video and you want to reach out to Dustin, go ahead, because it sounds like he's willing to take your call. So thank you so much, Dustin. I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you later, okay?
Absolutely. Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you're currently experiencing the challenges or concerns that this agent used to go through prior to partnering with us, and you want to achieve the same results that they talked about in this video, then feel free to click the link in the description below to find out a little more about our company and to potentially book a call to see if we would be a good fit for one another.